Welcome to A Mighty Blaze. It's Tuesday, it's pub day. I think it quite possibly is the largest pub day in the history of civilization. All of civilization. You know, when you say something with authority, people believe you. It is the craziest pub day we've ever seen.
There is a lot happening, you know, today in the book world. So
August 4th has been emblazoned upon all of our doorposts of our gates and on our hearts. No, it's just an insane time, and we are so excited to celebrate Erica Katz and the Boys Club. It's out today.
It's so exciting.
Isn't it so exciting? A Mighty Blaze is thrilled to celebrate and throw confetti and all of the other bookish fun that we do. Oh, I'm Robin
for
Kall.
having me.
You're welcome.
It's so incredible, especially during these bizarre times with COVID. I mean, I'm just sitting in my apartment, and were it not for things like this, I think it might feel a little anticlimactic. So I really, really appreciate it.
I'm so glad we're entertaining you. We're celebrating. I mean, this was one of the most anticipated books, and it's your debut novel, which is a huge big deal. They're all big deals. We love all our children, but our first children is always the most special. No,
I think that's right. Although I'm a middle child, but
so there you go. You'll know how it feels when the next one comes out. It is, it's cause for celebration. And Erica and I had the pleasure, we were talking off camera about an event we did a few weeks ago. And I remember when I first read about this book and Leslie sent it to me, I was like, so my kind of book, so exciting. Ooh, let's read Erica's bio. Erica Katz is a pseudonym for a graduate of the University of Michigan, Ann Arbor, and Columbia Law School. She began her career at a major Manhattan law firm. A native of New Jersey, she now lives in New York City, where she's sitting alone in her apartment, but very excited on pub day to be here with us.
During a hurricane or a tropical storm.
Isha, whatever. She's employed at another large law firm, and The Boys Club is her first novel. And go to Erica Katz Books for more information. So what is the storm doing? Like, what's happening right now?
Honestly, I can't tell you, because there are brief pockets where I can see, but it's one of those things where the rain is so hard with the wind that it's just a very blurry sheet of water. I can hear it smacking against the window, and there's got to be some hail, because there is something, hitting it quite hard. And I have this new puppy, and he is not even a ton. He's just wanting to go outside and jump in every single puddle he sees. He doesn't care about thunder. He doesn't care about lightning. He's scared of like security cones in the road, but he doesn't care at all about this. So my hair is doing crazy things, because I just got out from a 20-minute walk in a hurricane. And now but yeah, it's not great out there. I'm really glad I have power and internet so I can do this.
All right, that's what we were talking about before. Like, what else can happen? You know, how many plagues were there?
I know. I'm like waiting to get like lice.
I'm a family who's been through that twice, many, many years ago. Oh my God. Did you ever have that? Did you ever go?
No, but there's always like some scare in camp when I was young, and some girl in your bunk is getting like these eggs taken out of her hair. It's like everyone's worst nightmare.
It is the first time, I think it was it was one time it just wouldn't stop. And I did not know what it was. I mean, I'd heard of it, but I didn't know that that's what we were dealing with. And I remember calling the pediatrician. She was like, sounds like lice. And I was like, what?
I actually remember my dad's a pediatrician, and I remember my neighbor coming over, and I must have been like 8, and she was probably 12. And my dad looked at her and said, Christine, don't scratch your head for 30 seconds. And she sat there like freaking out. And then after 10 seconds, she was scratching, and he's like, you got to get out of here. You got to tell your mom you have lice.
That's so right, because you can't.
Yeah. I remember watching her being like, why is she freaking out?
Thinking about it. Well, but back in the day, it was a lot harder to deal with. Now you have like SWAT teams that you can call, and they come in and they like get rid of all your neighbors, and they just tell you what to do, and they do this thing, and it's thousands of dollars that you're thrilled to fork over, from what I hear. Anyway, how did we get on that topic? It's Erica
I
Katz.
don't know, but I've been talking about this book so much that I'm glad to talk about lice.
We'll just but you know, there's nothing like that kind of rainy weather for books. I mean,
I know, I'm hoping.
That's the quintessential weather for like cozy book chat. So everybody's focused. You can go to ericakatzbooks.com. It's a debut novel, and we are going to talk about it, but we will not spoil anything. I just have to hear a little something about the puppy. How old is the puppy? When did you get the puppy?
So my puppy is 7 months old. His name is Ollie. He's sleeping right now, or I'd show you him. But he is all over my Instagram feed, Erica A. Katz. I'll get him at the end of this.
Okay.
Because I don't want to wake the beast and have him.
Beast. So
he's so sweet.
And he doesn't mind the weather. Sometimes they grow into minding it, and then the thunder jackets are really great.
Yes. No, he doesn't mind the weather at all. We did have a little friction earlier because he chewed on my book, which I was very cute. Well, luckily I have like 50 of them. So
say, right, it's not your only copy, but that's cute. You save puppy's first bite marks.
Exactly.
On your book. So tell us about your book. What was the idea for the Boys Club? I mean, you're probably tired of that one. Let's see.
No. Yeah.
Write about Boys Club.
I think I had a really unique writing experience in that I don't think I actually set out to write a novel. At least not when I started, right? I for sure refined it and intended it to be a book at the end. But when I started, I think I was just having a ton of trouble sort of seeing other people's perspectives in the world around me. And I think I'm pretty emotionally intelligent. And I always, in every sort of political situation or social, like large social situation, I think I always can see the other side of anything. And as Trump was being elected and there was so much chatter around people's stories in the Me Too movement, I knew very firmly what I thought, which was, you know, very socially liberal and pro women's rights and all that. But I felt that there were a ton of like intelligent people who were voicing opinions so different from my own and doing things that I wouldn't do and saying things I wouldn't say. And so I started to write, which is always how I've made the most sense of the world. And it came out in fiction, which makes a ton of sense because I was trying to see other people's perspectives. And the book is sort of about people who behave badly and do things that I wouldn't do. And it's about how people are treated and mistreated in corporate America. And the book is set in a law firm, but I hope it rings true for.
But it could be,
yeah, for many industries. Yeah. And it's fun. It's a lot of, you know, salacious trimmings around what I hope is a really important message. And I hope people read it and love it and therefore talk about it.
Well, it's the perfect kind of book because it is funny and there is a lot to talk about in there. And I like the way you talk about writing as a way to see your way through a situation. And what did it illuminate for you?
I think that the book was this very long, free therapy session for me, which was great.
Unless you count your time, in which case it was not free, but yeah.
Correct. But I did love the process. And I think I came out on the other end. What the book did for me was, I think it made me far less judgmental. I think that I have a much more Zen outlook on things that I don't agree with. And I think writing from another character's perspective forces you to be very non-judgmental because it's almost impossible if you truly put yourself in someone else's shoes to dislike them, unless they're awful. But people are complicated and they do bad things and they do wonderful things. And I think every character in this book is complicated and gray, and we disagree with all of them I disagree with all of them at times and really love them at other times. And I think that's sort of become the way I see the world, in like a very honest, non-judgmental sort of way going forward.
How peaceful for you, Erica.
Yeah, I really fell in love with the writing process. Again, like this wasn't exactly my plan. Like I always loved to write, but writing novels is my, you know, I don't think I'll ever stop now as long as I can.
And you have, I'm sure the ideas are just, I mean, when you were working on this book, were other ideas coming at the same time? Or did you say like, no other ideas, I'm working on the boys club and maybe some life story? But
it's, that's, I've never been asked that question. It's such a good question. I had a notebook that my sister gave me when I first started getting serious about writing, where I wrote all my ideas, and very quickly I got a second notebook right? So I have ideas about the book I'm writing, and then I have other ideas, which I try to write to get out of my brain so I don't focus and spin on those things. So there is this whole notebook of ideas. I gotta say, most of them are complete crap, but some of them are really good, and one of them I'm working on right now.
See, I like that. So your sister got you one and it got you started.
Yeah, just all of this whole process was so new to me that I think there was a real learning curve. I think everyone who writes their ideas down, and I never did that. And I had it next to my bed, and I would write. Well, yeah, I would sometimes wake up with notes that made no sense, like add the kitchen sink. Like that one time I woke up with that next to my bed, and it made no sense. It was so irrelevant, but lots of times there's like words that pop into my head and word play, and it's just really important to be able to write those things down, because they're so minute and seemingly insignificant, but I think they're part of what makes a book really readable is the thought that goes into every word.
Absolutely. And that's the sign of a well-edited book, when there's no wasted footage and everything is, needs to be there. And that's what keeps the pages turning. That's your pace. So of the first notebook that your sister gave you, so you saved the notebooks, right? Where do you save them so they're safe from Ollie?
Ollie, by the way, is like a little angel, and this is like the first thing that he's really dug into that he's not supposed to. But I keep them in, if I'm like commuting to work, I have one in my bag. Okay. But for the most part, I keep it in my nightstand. And that, like, it's easily accessible. It's a way, not because I don't know, a lot of the very early ideas of my book I thought were so private, not because I cared what people thought, but because I felt they weren't ready for the world to see. I remember being on a family vacation and writing and like covering my computer, like, I was so embarrassed. Like I hadn't ever succeeded at this yet. And so it felt silly to do a little, and I kept it in my nightstand because I was a little private and guarded about it. I still do.
Yeah, that makes sense because, it's the way you think. I mean, I feel that way about notes or anything that I write. I would have an author event, and sometimes I would be up at the lectern with my notes, and I'm like, don't look at my notes. Like,
yeah,
you don't know me. You don't know what I meant. And, and I might have a little note to myself that only myself would get, and nobody can be in on myself and my
right.
So it's a really intrusive kind of thing to have
something over someone's shoulder.
The thought of that, right? And so I think it's really interesting. I also keep a notepad and paper just everywhere. And the ones from in the middle of the night, I still do the same thing. I write them down, but I do think I'll sometimes ask my husband what this even says. Once I actually made up a fake thing and I had him going. He's like, I was like, do you know what maybe this has something to do with yesterday. I don't know. I wanted to see how much he loved me and how far he would go to try and figure it out. So right. The Boys Club, Erica Katz books.
I love that cover.
It is.
It's too cool.
It is everything. And that's where I think maybe I first saw it online somewhere. And then I wrote an email to Leslie saying, I must have this because you've got the color pop, you've got this mysterious staircase, and somebody carrying a briefcase. Can you talk about a few of the characters and what you enjoyed about them, what you gave to them, each of them that was something, like the good fairy bestows upon a character, something. Sure. Which gifts did you give them?
I knew that I wanted my protagonist, Alex Vogel, to be very realistic. And so that meant immediately that I focused on making her faulted and flawed, and that's life. And She's super imperfect, and I adore her. She's makes some huge mistakes, I think, but I think she's so funny at times, and
Very funny.
she's one of those people who can really. She doesn't know how powerful she is at first. She's sort of observing wide-eyed until she realizes she can totally hang. And I started with this idea of having Alex and her boyfriend with gender neutral names.
Mm-hmm.
Her boyfriend's name is Sam, and playing with the dynamic in the relationship there. So Sam is really kind and very supportive, but he's at a whole different life stage than Alex is, and they just sort of start missing each other. So those were the first two characters I started with. And then I just want to cover some of my favorite characters. Jordan is one of my absolute favorite characters. He is attractive and suave and sweet and funny and smart. And he makes some mistakes, but he's really such a great friend to Alex. And I thought Matt should be sort of the older version of Jordan, someone who's really supportive. And it was really important to me to have men in those positions. So they have similarly endearing characteristics. They also make mistakes and do things. I actually think some of the most interesting points in the book are when Alex calls him out on those mistakes. Which she starts to do when she sort of gets her footing at the firm. And then my favorite character to write was Derek, who is sort of an ancillary character, but I think he's really complicated and he sheds light on some really important issues with a ton of heart and soul. And I think he's one of those characters that is not ever present in every chapter, but he elicits a great deal of empathy from readers. And I was surprised to find that so many readers like him as well. And then there's Peter, who's just, I think everyone knows some version of Peter or has heard some version of Peter. And he's like the coolest, most handsome, most successful, most surprising character. And I think no one quite knows Peter, but everyone likes Peter, type of thing.
It's so interesting what draws people to each other.
Absolutely.
And, yeah, when you're reading a book like this, I know I do think of people sort of like that, where that, you know, you're reading what they're doing, you're getting their inner monologue, and you think, oh, you know, people do fit into certain categories. I mean, they just, you know, they are complicated, but there are some telltale signs that are easy to spot. So it's just, and that's what also makes the book so much fun. And I know it's movie or a TV series, I forgot.
I got optioned as a feature film, as a movie.
Yeah, because I could see it as both. And I can't keep straight everybody's amazing extra deals. It's like not enough that you write a book. And it's out today, The Boys Club, Erica Katz, and then the feature film. So I don't know where that is at the moment, but is that something that you already have sort of cast in your head or your dream cast?
My cast in my head changes every single time I watch good TV or film. So I love playing this game. I sit on my couch and I think he'd be good, she'd be great. But I have no agenda and I have no sort of plan here. I just really hope that Alex has really big eyes. That's my one hope, or at least can act with her eyes, because I think that there's so much that she learns from this world through observation that I think her eyes would be really important. And yeah, I think whoever they choose would be great. You know, I signed over the rights to Netflix, to Sugar 23, and Michael Sugar is the producer, just with full faith, right? Like, I don't have any contractual rights over the movie, and I'm okay with that because they really got the book and they love the book. And Michael Sugar produced, he won the Oscar for Spotlight, and I thought that was really right. And real, and I just have full faith that he can do it here.
There's Michael now. We secretly had Michael calling.
Can you still hear that ringing?
It's okay.
Sorry.
It's okay. It's the way it is now. I just haven't heard an actual phone ringing in an actual
So it's got to be my doorman with something, because that's the only person who can call. I don't even know that. I don't even think it's a real number. It's just like a direct like bat signal down to the doorman.
Because I forget who I was speaking to once when there was a phone ringing, and it's just such a foreign sound unless people have their cell phones on the telephone sound.
No, I'm so sorry about that. Anyway, I'm clearly working from home.
It's fun. Who isn't? You know, I've seen so many of the network shows where things happen, and Eric and I were talking off air also about the technology we rely on to bring all of these amazing events to everybody. And even on the network shows, things happen.
I just got asked to write an article about how to work from home successfully. And I said, sure, I'm on it. And as I wrote it, it came out as complete satire because it's impossible and no one knows. And certainly I don't, given this situation. So yeah, like it's just an absolute.
Is it out yet? Can we read it? Or has it been published yet?
No, not yet.
Okay. Can you still add in Michael or the doorman we're calling?
Yes, fair enough, fair.
I think that's right. But there are, some of those moments really just bring it down to like, this is what it is. It's not so, this is not so serious, it's not.
Absolutely. This whole experience for me has been like that. The book came out today, but I got a call from my best friend's mom on Sunday that she was holding it in Barnes & Noble. And I was like,
how?
People are like, Barnes & Noble unpackers in Manhattan were clearly like, it's COVID, no one's going to care. We're going to put this book out.
So funny.
Yeah. The whole process has just sort of been like, whatever, roll with it.
Right, big orange pieces of paper that say do not
yes
penalty or take the tag off your let's just give it out. Here we go.
Exactly.
One for you. Hey, as long as they're selling, that's all that matters.
I know. I really hope they do. I hope that bookstores, people can socially distance and get in there. And oh my God, thank God for Amazon, like Jeff Bezos. So yeah, I hope people scoop it up.
And bookshop.org, which we love, and that supports the indies. But yeah, however you can get your books. Also request them at the library. Libraries buy books too. And we always, we remind people that that's a really helpful thing to do. Say to your library, hey, do you have a copy of The Boys Club by Erica Katz? I saw they had it at Barnes & Noble on Sunday. So
many libraries scoop this up. I've been speaking with the Library Journal and, the National Association of Librarians, and they were wonderful about it. So your library should have it.
Absolutely. And if it doesn't, usually they can get it from another branch. But the best thing is, I love when I post books and people will say to me, I'm number 423 on my library list. Can you do anything about that? And I'm like, yeah, you could buy a book, share it with your friends. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know.
Exactly. Although people just clearly think you're some sort of deity at this point.
I guess like some kind of wizard. I'm going to bippity boppity boo them a book or something. I don't know. But like that, libraries can only buy so many. And the books that get a lot of attention get a lot of holds. And I always get excited. I've emailed authors and said, oh my God, do you know how many holds there are in Rhode Island for your book? I just,
oh my gosh, I would be so honored if there were a hold on my book. Let me know if there ever is.
I will put holds on, you know what, I'll post it. I'll tell everybody to request it at their library and see if we can get as many holds on it. I haven't done that yet since in the 5 months I've been in. So
I would love that. My dad actually went to his local bookstore and they said that they bought however many copies, and he said, I'll take all of them. And they said, you can have all of them except 2 because there's holds on them. And I was so happy. It was like the greatest thing I had ever heard.
What a dad.
Oh my God, so funny.
So he can keep going with that. How many bookstores can he visit within like a 30-mile radius probably?
I don't know, but when I told him that I found out that Barnes & Noble in Manhattan had released it early, he and my mom were hiking in New York, in upstate New York, and apparently they like sprinted off the mountain and went to the nearest Barnes & Noble and found it. So something was up with Barnes & Noble in New York.
That sounds about right.
I know, and then I ran to the Strand, which I love. I'm a Strand fanatic. I feel like I get lost in the Strand all the time. And I was hoping that they also made the same mistake, but they very professionally said, this comes out on Tuesday. And I wanted to say, it's okay, but I also respected it. So I'm going to brave the hurricane and go thereafter.
Yeah, you need to do that. And, you know, just taking a deep breath of the Strand for me while you're there. That place
It's
awesome.
it's so much.
It is such
Yeah.
a place. Well, I have to roll because I have to come back at 2:00. So I need to like reset the table. And it's such a treat to chat with you on Pub Day. It's The Boys Club by Erica Katz. Go to your local bookstore or call them or call the library, put it on hold. It is such a great book. And it's
Thank
fun.
you so much.
Strong woman. There you go. Love it. And I will see you tomorrow.
Yes, see you tomorrow.
Tomorrow on my Instagram. It's
Can't wait.
Your book with Erica Katz. I'll have to come up with something new. I'm going to have to top the life story, though. I don't know.
Oh, God. Okay. Thanks, Robin.
Erica.
Bye.
Oh, tomorrow I want to see Ollie. Tomorrow, Ollie.
Oh, my God. Yeah. We don't have time. I'll make sure he's awake tomorrow.
Okay. Bye.